Hey everyone, another chart review today, this time on the NQ 1000 tick chart. Again, one trade today for me, one and done, and not the best setup in hindsight. I'll go through my chart, see if there's a few arrows listed, where there were trade setups that in hindsight maybe I should have taken, but for certain reasons didn't take at the time, which kind of influenced my eventual trade. But I'll get into the chart today on the NQ 1000 tick chart. I'm finding some success on the NQ. I know a lot of people say to stay away from the NQ, but at least for PATS, while the ES is sometimes very slow, today especially again, NQ offered up some possibilities, some possible trades. So yesterday evening, overnight, we traded down before we get this strong uptrend overnight. And for a few hours before the market opened, we shop around here. What I see is two legs correction. We have a one leg here, another leg down here. And then just before the market opened, I thought we might get another leg of this one. We have this big leg here. I think we do almost get a bit off here. I think we eventually do make the leg and surpass it. But the point here is mainly that I see that some people that do go for these larger targets with PATS, maybe you're aware of Penguin trades. He has a channel where he progressed and developed into going for larger targets and reading PATS on a higher time frame, and really putting more emphasis on the leg counting rather than just trend channels and break new extremes. I'm trying to look out for these sort of legs, especially now going for double the risk as my reward, just to make sure I haven't got any of these key levels in the way, which might cause a strong reversal before getting out of my trade. But in any case, I had to wait on the second leg because we had this trend break new high and we start reversing below the EMA again. This was the first potential trade. We have this down channel working down, and we have a first entry long, second entry long, failure. It was tempted if this bar here, if we'd broken down already there, but I did have a bit of concern about potential support here, because we bounced once here, we bounced again here, and it was just after the open, so rather wait. So we have and with failures, I like it to be in the one leg. This feels like two legs here. But in hindsight, there's a failure, plus we need a new low here. Very nice bear bar, strong bear bar off the EMA, nice rejection. Probably going lower, but are we going to go below this support? If you break below it, you're probably going to keep going lower, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, in any case, quite simple 1 to 2 RR there. We break down. I initially drew this spike in channel, but this maybe was something more like that. No, maybe not. I kind of liked how I had it. How did I have it? Something like this. But in any case, we didn't really get a break new low, so maybe this was just this one leg. This was like two big legs to a new low. Just had to play what I saw, and then we reversed quite strongly above the EMA. No real way to get in here. I played with a couple of potential up channels. I had this narrower one here, break new high. I also thought a wider one, given the strength of this up channel, just a couple of 2-3 bear bars in amongst, 15, 20 bull bars. I thought maybe it's wider. But in any case, it still has a small break new high. So we get a second entry long here. So first entry long, second entry long. And because of his potential break new high, plus I had this down channel drawn like this, I thought this might get trapped and go down, or at least break new low of this channel. I was looking for a higher low, so maybe at least an attempt of a new low in this one, but yeah, shot up in really quick, easy 2-to-1. Well, not easy, but pretty straightforward 2-to-1 for 34 points roughly. Maybe I could have drawn this narrower, very tight, but I prefer to have very clean breaks because so many times I've taken a trade where I thought there was a break new low, but there's not, and I get stopped out. So in this case, it was better to be safe and sorry. We continue trending up, and we get some choppiness here, but essentially I see a first entry long, second entry long, and again, off the EMA trend line. At this point, you probably could confirm a sort of spike in channel here. I didn't like the signal bar, and it was only after this triggered and started to run up that I saw that it was a second entry long and maybe like a failed breakout of this choppiness. So we're chopping and failed breakout for continuation. It was only around 14 point stops on the NQ, very low risk. And again, you get your 28 points relatively easy there for a 1-to-2 RR. At this point, I mean, I had valid reasons, at least in real time, for me not to take these trades. Maybe I was a bit too strict, but I think I was okay to skip them, given my past experience of losers jumping into these trades. But it did frustrate me a little to see how well these trades reacted when they triggered, and I hadn't taken any of the free. I was a bit frustrated. Not very frustrated, but thinking, oh, taking one of these. Should have had another trade on this 20 trade challenge in the books. At this point, I'm thinking we might get a second entry long around here. So looking for maybe a reaction, a second entry long, high or low off the EMA to get a new high. Doesn't happen, and we get a stronger reversal. Here I was kind of tempted by a second entry long. If we start the count here, first entry long with a break, new low, and maybe we're going to power back up, but I prefer a nice strong break new low in these cases, because this, in the past I've taken these type of trades and then I've been ticked in and it's continued down, and the down channel then gets widened like this. So it has to be a really nice break new low to really rule out a wider down channel. And then we get here, and there's a potential failure. Now in real time, this closed on my chart round about the EMA. I was looking for a type of reversal pattern in the context to make a new high here. A couple of problems. If I zoom in here, I really wasn't sure this bar here had ticked below this bar. I thought, is it a higher low, this one, that makes this a failure, or is it not, and this is a higher low? I was really zoomed in. Any case, once I decided it was a failed second entry short, it closed just on the EMA, and with failures, I prefer a nice strong move above the EMA, close above the EMA to really confirm the reversal's happening. Again, skip that one. This time I'm thinking, geez, 4 potential trades. I've skipped them for good reasons, at least in the time in my mind, which maybe influenced my eventual trade. On this short term channel, we have a break new high. I'm still looking for a new high of this up channel and potentially the completion of a second leg of this equal length to this first leg. And I maybe was a bit too eager here. So what we have is a first entry long, second entry long, plus it's a higher low compared to this one. Could possibly say as well, if this is quite a deep swing, so we could reset a count here, go first entry short, second entry short, failure. But no one's probably looking to go short. Maybe here. Don't think it trapped many people. And the bar, at the time, I don't think my bar was this bearish. I think maybe it closed like here, but still barely acceptable. So I think at this point I was just a bit frustrated by not having a trade yet and tried to force one. There's arguments there, but compared to the other ones, this probably is even weaker, so yeah, something need to think about. If I feel that trigger happy sensation, that urge to take a trade, maybe best just to step away from the desk. But in any case, we took it and yeah, had to sit through a bit of drawdown initially in this bar. And we could have got 1 to 1.5 fairly easily. Yeah, that would have been 25 points maybe. Or 27 points roughly. And that would have been, yeah, here. But as well, Brooks says, a lot of times you have to sit through strong pullbacks going for 1 to 2 RR. And we had to sit through one. So it gets to within maybe 5.5 points of my take profit and reverses 38 points. And even on Sim, I was thinking, for fuck's sake. Even though I tell myself these 20 trades I'm doing, it's all just data analysis, it's collecting data, seeing how far can we really push PATS, how much can we really extract from these PATS setups. I still feel that urge to be right. I have to be right. The market has to do what I want it to, and I know I have to manage that. But at least, even with the strong pullback, I didn't get any urge to move the stop or do anything disastrous. So that's progress. Maybe on these 1 to 2 trades, because here, for example, this ticked above here. So now we've made a new high on all channels. And to get my 1 to 2 with PATS clearly, like on strict PATS, it's, I don't want to say hoping for continuation, but it goes from strict, yeah, strategy, expectation to hoping for continuation. Because this is played out, so on a strict PATS point of view, we might get a reversal here. And we almost did. Very strong bear bar. This one I thought it was cooked, but we immediately reversed. That's also a thing with NQ compared to ES, is that these big reversals are quite common, or it is quite common to see a big strong bear bar like this just get eaten up by a big bull bar. So that sort of volatility coming from ES is something to get used to. Once this happened, I thought, okay, the EMA is more or less held. It had an initial breach, but the bulls have stepped in. Well, maybe we get a second entry long, but we just bulleted up to my take profit. So something to consider for me for these levels. I mean, if there had been another level above here during this, like maybe if we'd had, like in previous days, there might have been an overnight high somewhere that we were targeting. I'm okay to go past the trend. Or maybe if there's like a second leg we're expecting. But in this case, we were really just in no man's land, at least compared to overnight session. At least yesterday, I mean, yesterday's highs, that's maybe a potential here. I could say, well, the trends played out here, but we have these highs from yesterday that we might hit. So maybe in fairness, I look now, we did hit that level, and then that's where we reversed a little, and then continued later in the day. So maybe going for these larger targets, not just like using PATS, but also consider overnight levels, previous day levels, measured moves, two legs, just to have confidence to hold through any potential pullbacks. So just lots to think about after that trade. Again, respect to the rules, or at least my stop loss, take profit. There is still the emotion where I think, have I just wasted my best run this year in terms of winning streak and potential P&L? I mean, it's on Sim, but if I'd taken this on PA accounts, it would have been the best week of my trading ever, to be honest. So there is that thinking like, oh, if I just done this on my PA account, I would have had a payout of $1,000. I would have had another one coming up potentially. But then I realized these type of pullbacks like this one happened yesterday as well. Strong pullbacks on a PA right now. I would not have held through that. I would be taking these at break even, 1 hour. I wouldn't be sitting through to the full take profit. It kind of made me realize that this 20 trade challenge on Sim is something I need to do. As Mark Douglas said, it's like reprogramming your brain to accept the probabilities and not just focus on P&L or the outcome. So I am going to continue with these 20 trade challenge. I mean, if I continue one trade a day by the middle of June, middle of June, I'll probably be finished. I can go back to PA. I might have to copy trade Apex, which has really low drawdown now, $260. But I did get an email with a warning or a heads up about potential inactivity, so I might have to copy trade at least one or two of these trades just to keep it alive. But I'll focus on getting another 13 trades on Sim, trying to look for one of these good swing trades per day. And yeah, then move it over to PA. I am quite surprised by how well it's went so far. Yeah, 7 trades down and 7 winners, which I know is probability and mathematically not common because, yeah, 1 to 2 RR, you're going for more than your risk. I mean, just probability wise, it's that win rate's not going to keep up. But if I could win more than I lose, plus each time I win is double the risk, I think that's very profitable. And yeah, as I've said in other videos, if you take, I know I'm an NQ now, but looking at ES, if you take the trades mag marks, most of them, at least 70%, go to 1 to 2R. As long as you're not in these tight ranges or taking the more risky setups like, I don't know, a lower high after a break and new extreme of a channel. So for now, we'll have to see. As I always say, the challenge, the proof in the pudding will be when I take a loss and accept it. And I'm hoping with these bigger winners, it will be easier to accept. But I say that now. I know it. I know if a loser comes, can I just turn it off and go walk my dog? On sim, I think I can. On a PA, that's going to be something to check for in the future. And how will I react to losing streaks? I don't want to try to lose on sim, but within these 20 trades, there is a part of me that would like to see 2 or 3 losers in a row just to see my reaction. And reach the end of the 20 trades and see, look, I had 3 losers in a row, but letting these trades play out 1 to 2 I'm profitable, very comfortably profitable after 20 trades. And I think that would give me the confidence and the data that I need to continue this 1 to 2 on the PAs. And I don't know why I didn't do that before, because quite frankly, I worked as a data analyst before, so I mean, working with data, having the data to make decisions, that's what I need for my trading, I guess. But yeah, another pretty good day, a lot of data, a lot of emotions to review, to sit down and think about. But this Mark Douglas 20 trade challenge is hopefully a turning point here for the rest of the year. Hope you had a good day as well. And see you next time. Peace.